Alrighty, so as I was mentioning before the video cut off, we were talking about some of the identified gaps that we all contributed and came up with. And so some of the things that we see is that there's lower reading and math proficiency among these emergent bilingual students, which we saw is around 70% of our student body. There's discrepancies in advanced performance and mastery. So I think we need to start bridging the gap with those students that are performing at the grade level standard, but try to push them a little bit more, give them a little bit more motivation to perform a little bit better. Some instructional gaps. We do have larger than average class sizes. So for us, we don't have as much faculty as we should have. And so our class sizes are really big. I know for me personally in my class, there's not enough chairs for everybody to sit at a table. And so I'm missing around 2 tables, and I know that's a really big discrepancy because, again, if a lot of our students are emergent bilinguals, or I'm trying to translate things to English for them while teaching them Spanish, I'm going one by one for each student. And there's not enough of me to go around for every student. And so I think there's gonna be some instructional gaps there. Also with novice teachers, which the average age or average years of experience of a teacher is around 3.9. I'm in my 5th year teaching, but as you guys could see in this data here, the average years of experience tends to be a lot lower compared to the state standard or the district standard. And so our campus, we're definitely way behind in terms of years of experience. And I think the more professionals with experience that we can get to this campus to connect with younger professionals like myself, maybe we can contribute and come to some common ground and speak with experience. And I know that I take a lot of what you say and a lot of what you say, and I try to apply it with my own classes. And then for the potential barriers for the ED students, the ones that are, economically disadvantaged students, the economic dis students. So there's a lot of limited access to the resources and tutoring. And I know one of the things that we struggle on with campus is that since we share the cafeteria with middle school, we share the gym with middle school, and we have block periods where we do half an hour of lunch for 9th and 10th, and then the next time it's going to be 11th and 12th in the cafeteria. This doesn't allow any sort of time for kids to come to tutorials. There is 0 tutorials. And I know that in one of my previous schools, we had 1 hour lunch, everybody at the same time. It was a little bit more chaotic because we were struggling with the amount of staff that we have. So I know that we're doing this so that we can share the space, but also make it safe for the students so that they're not fighting, that they're not throwing stuff at each other. So besides the safety concern, I think we're not allowing any time for tutoring, and I think this is really a really big gap that we should address. And there's also a high demand for bilingual or ESL supports, and not many of us are coded for that. Not many of us are ESL certified. And so I'm trying to bridge the gaps with my students. I'm trying to teach them English while at the same time Spanish. I'm trying to bridge both gaps there. And I think I need to be more proactive in talking to English teachers, to the math teachers, to see, because I mean, even for math is a language in itself. So imagine teaching somebody one language in another language, and math could count as a language as well. And so I think we should think about some of the next steps that we should take in order to start bridging some of these gaps, start bringing the instructional gaps, maybe try to see, can we talk to the leadership team to bring in more teachers, not just any teachers, more experienced teachers, and just to include more diversity. What sort of demographic for teachers should we get, right? And so another thing, bridging those gaps in terms of academics, how do we get our kids that meet grade level to get them to mastery level? And I'm wondering what sort of steps that we can take. And I do think that maybe including more staff, reducing the class sizes could bridge one of those gaps. And then some of the potential barriers, like I said, kids not bringing backpacks, kids not bringing pencils, kids being tired because they have to work after school. And so why don't we take a minute or so and let's see if we can each come up with a bullet point that we can talk about for next meeting.
Okay.